Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Visibility Unlocked. I'm so stoked for this episode today because today we have our very first guest on the show. I want to welcome my dear friend, Caitlin Whitmoyer, who is a two-time founder and sales strategist who created Beacon. And what she does is she helps service-based entrepreneurs stop dreading sales and start leading conversations with confidence. She has literally built her business on relationships, trust, and inner work. She has spent over a decade as an educator before ever calling what she did selling, and that same instinct led her to walk away from pressure tactic playbooks and build something even better, which she calls the natural pull framework. And this is a way of selling that is rooted in curiosity instead of pressure. So that same commitment to do that internal work is exactly what brought her to me for a human design reading and a branding photo shoot. And what happened next is the real story. Within 4 weeks of implementing what she did and what she learned about how she's designed to show up and be seen, paired with the photos that finally reflected that version of her, Caitlin was able to book 4 high ticket clients. And when she told me this, my mind was blown. So today we're going to go behind the scenes of this transformation, what marketing herself looked like before, the aha moments in her reading, what changed when she started creating visibility according to her design, and how that shift is now fueling the very impact she is here to make with Beacon. So let's get into it, my friends. Welcome, Caitlin. I am so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to dive in and tell this story.
Excellent. Excellent. So let's just dive right into it. And I want to know everything from the very beginning. So before we actually dove into your human design and uncovered that you are a 6'2" emotional projector, what did marketing for yourself look like? What strategy and approach were you taking?
Yeah. What I thought good marketing, quote unquote, should look like was that you have, the fancy Canva layout, the carousels, that you have reels that are, put together according to the trends, like trending audio, things like that. My posts were honestly, I actually went and looked back at them prior to this episode because I wanted to see, I haven't looked at it in a while, what I was saying. And it was kind of like I was saying nothing and everything at the same time. And I just feel like it was a reflection of not even knowing what my true strengths were or really how to show them. It's like I knew I was good at what I do. I knew that I got my clients results, but I'm like, how do I put this into content? And that was something I had just always struggled with. And therefore, I also really believed that I couldn't use my content to convert my audience into clients. And I couldn't use my content the way that I really wanted to. And it was very frustrating because, as a teacher, and actually this is in my profile too, one of my gates is the gate of resources. And so I am meant to design things and be very resourceful. And it's why I loved creating lessons from scratch and building things. So Canva is fun for me, but when I don't know how to use it to promote my business and really show what I do, then it's not fun. Right. And so I just felt like my marketing looked very pretty, but it didn't really reflect what I wanted it to show. So human design really helped. I think the biggest part of what helped in understanding my human design were my profile lines and how those connect to my visibility, but then also the gates and the channels, which I really didn't know a lot about before working with you. And of course, your energy type. I have known I'm a projector for a while. Didn't quite understand how to apply that lens to business until I really started shifting my offers to reflect more of my projector nature. But the biggest shift in content and marketing and being able to use that to draw people in a very magnetic way was understanding my profile lines for sure.
So, can you tell me, as you were looking back at all of your old content and kind of reminiscing on that whole experience, how did that make you feel?
Frustrated because I remember feeling the frustration of making these posts and going, okay, these are getting like decent views, but what am I getting out of them? You know, like, are they sparking conversation? People would be like, oh, your posts are looking really good, but they wouldn't really like spark what they spark now. Like now I make a reel and someone's like, you just triggered the absolute F out of me and I need to work with you, right? And that's what you want your content to do. You want people to be messaging you and saying like, this really landed for me. And I wasn't able to market that way with how I was creating before that.
So, would you say it's fair to say that the results you were experiencing before is just kind of like crickets relatively? You didn't have people reaching out, or what did that really look like?
It looked like, you know, being like put in the friend zone. You know, it's like if I really wanted to use specifically Instagram and Facebook to meet new people, to be connected with new leads, and to showcase my value. And so, you know, it's like you can make a funny reel that gets like, I'm looking at one that I posted where it was like a funny video that we took from my one of my older photo shoots, and like, yes, it got 500 views, but for what? There was nothing on the other side of that. You know, it was just a bunch of people liking it, saying this is funny, this is entertaining, but that's not what I'm in the business of doing. So that doesn't really support why I posted it in the first place. And so those moments happened more and more over time. And then when we met for the first time and you started talking to me about visibility, I thought, oh my gosh, yes, this is exactly what I'm missing.
I love that you use the phrase put into the friend zone. I feel like that happens so often with entrepreneurs, especially when they're trying to create visibility and market themselves online, literally talking about what they specialize in and getting into these conversations and don't really understand how to convert it over to a sale, but are just literally viewed as a friend. Like, hey, I can come talk to you about this. And oh, I know that you do this, but yeah, I'm not going to hire you for it.
Right. Exactly.
So do you feel like a lot of your clients that you work with, that's a problem that they currently have, is just kind of being stuck in that friend zone rather than looked at as the expert, as the authority?
Yeah. And it's clear when their marketing reflects that, because I will see them do the same things that I used to do, like just posting around a certain topic where that might not be the best way for you to present the information, because that's not how you're designed. That's not how people are drawn to you, right? Like there's so many different ways we can share content online, but if we don't do it in a way that really hones in on our specific strategy and our genius, it's not going to land. And that was exactly what was happening. It was just not land. Like I would post it and I wouldn't feel great about it. I'd feel like, okay, I got it done, you know, but there was no satisfaction. Now, when I make posts, it's like, okay, I really am happy with what I put out there. And if it gets 2 likes, I really don't care, because it reflects my value and it articulates what I wanted it to articulate. And funny enough, like my views have grown, my following has grown. I've looked today and I was like, in the last month, I'm up almost 100 followers, which is nuts.
That's amazing. Yeah, we always want to see those numbers trending up, but it's not always all about that because it's the actual quality of what that increase in followers or likes and just engagement in general is actually bringing us. Because if we gain more followers but they're not reaching out into the DMs, then what is it even for? But like you said, with when you made this transition, you started getting these DMs, and it wasn't just in the friend zone. It was people actually saying to you, you hit something that is so true for me deep inside. I don't even want to admit it's triggered me. And now that makes me know that you are the person that is meant for me to help me with this situation.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of DMs, because obviously what I do is teach people how to sell, now the people who are following me are my ideal clients. They're not random accounts, which is what was happening before, like people that maybe I knew from years ago in like college, or random other people from the internet who just saw something entertaining on my page. So now when I get an aligned follower, if they don't DM me first, I DM them. And oftentimes that will lead to a call, and that either leads to us working together or us just being in each other's worlds and supporting one another. And either way, that's a win for me because that's an aligned follower, right?
Yeah. And not only that, but it's you following your strategy of waiting for the invitation, right? Just the fact that they followed you is an invitation to connect with you. So it's not a cold call or a cold DM for say by you having them as a new follower and then sending them out a DM instead of waiting for them. And I really want to say this loud and clear for projectors because a lot of times there's so much confusion around your strategy of waiting for the invitation and what that actually really looks like. And this is such a beautiful example of you acknowledging that you received an invitation, recognizing that, but then also that it's the right invitation because not every invitation that a projector gets is going to be correct for you. So all those other followers that weren't your aligned clients, you reaching out to them, you're going to experience something completely different, probably being ignored, or maybe they go and unfollow you because it feels icky for them that you just slid into their DMs. But because it's your aligned client and they reached out by saying, hey, I want to follow you, that was your invitation to reach out, which is why the whole back end process of that leading to those calls and leading to a conversion is actually unfolding for you.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
I love that. I love that. I love that for projectors. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the human design reading itself. You talked a little bit already about how, understanding your profile lines and your channels really brought some aha moments. So can you talk to me a little bit more about that? What was it about your profile lines or the channels that we talked over with you is what really helped you put together what your correct visibility approach is?
Yeah, so the reading was very eye opening. I've had human design readings done in the past, and I will say nothing has been quite as thorough as the way that you facilitate your readings. And, for those listening, if you are at all hesitating and you are thinking about having a reading, just do it because the information you're going to get is going to feel like a permission slip for you to go do life and business the way that you are literally designed to do it. And so one of the biggest things that I took away from the reading was my authority, which is I am an emotional projector. I thought prior to this reading, because no one had ever explained it this way, that that meant that I have good gut instincts. And so I can follow that. But I didn't know what that actually means is that I need to wait to make decisions and really pause before I act, which I was definitely not doing when it came to anything, when it came to my relationships, when it came to business with offers, content ideas. I really was not pausing and waiting. And that has been huge for me, that shift. It has helped me get clarity around even like navigating certain challenges I've had with contractors that have supported my business, offers that I have sat with and really asked myself, is this the right timing? Is this the right, offer itself? And it has led to a lot more self-trust. I think doing it the way that I thought I was supposed to, which was to trust my instincts because I felt like I had strong ones, just wasn't working out always for my best, for my highest good. So that was huge. And I know one of the things I remember talking to you about too in the call was my mind racing like constantly, like in the evening. And I would always be thinking through, what I was going to do next. And this goes into my 2 line of the hermit, I really wasn't pulling back and treating rest like a business strategy. Mm-hmm. And so the result of that was just constantly being on and wired and like feeling like I had to make decisions. So the emotional authority combined with learning that I have a 2 in my profile gave me the permission to step back and not move so quickly, and also to I think you gave the analogy of like the train, of when this is happening for me. I need to imagine that the thoughts are just, I am at a train station and they are the train and they are moving and I don't have to get on the train. I can let them flow.
Mhm.
So that was very freeing, that part of the reading.
Yes, this is what I call observing our thoughts, right? Because the head center, which is undefined for you, it's also undefined for me, and it is for 70% of the population. This is where ideas and inspiration and questions are at, and it's also known as a pressure center. So this is the pressure to answer questions, and this is with we're being open, we're absorbing all of this inspiration and these ideas and these questions all throughout the day. So when we finally do go lay down to rest, we can very much feel our mind just racing, and we feel this pressure in this pressure center to actually come up with the answers. But the reality is that especially right then in that moment, you don't need to have these questions answered. And so when we take on this analogy of being at a train station, it's a visualization practice that I do with a lot of my clients. And you are on the platform and you're just sitting on a bench and crossing your legs and letting your foot just kind of bounce up and down. And the train comes rolling in, and it's just our thoughts. And we don't want to get up and try to run and jump onto the train while it's moving. We don't want to be a passenger on the train, but we just want to allow our thoughts, like have the thought and be like, okay, that's interesting. Or, oh, that's a cute question. Or, oh, maybe I can solve that one later. I don't need to solve that right here, right now. Nobody's going to die right now in this moment. My business isn't going to crumble if I don't have the answer to this right now. So it's definitely helped me. And I'm so grateful to hear that gave you such relief in the evenings to really lean into that two line and that hermit and really prioritize rest, especially as a projector. It's kind of like a double whammy for you. I mean, you guys you don't have that defined sacral. So you are not built for sustainable energy. You work in these really efficient bursts of energy, and then it takes rest for you to restore that again. And being that hermit mode is your process of being able to lean in and figure out what those questions are that are yours to answer and what are not. So I love that understanding your emotional authority gave you the permission to not respond, not to answer questions, not to make decisions, to take your time. And also just the fact that you didn't have to answer all of the questions. So, what's the end result of going through that experience and really getting that permission slip that freed you?
Well, coming back to another thing that you told me in the reading. So, my, and you'll have to remind me what this is called. My sign of like how I know I'm on the right path
Mm-hmm. Your true
is
self theme.
my true self theme. Yes, is success. And, I think I had a definition of what that was
Mm-hmm.
prior to the reading. And then during the reading, you broke that down for me and just shared that success is really just about being in the energy of appreciation. And the more that you appreciate the small things that are present in your day, the greater things will come with that energy. And that was also a huge thing for me. And so when I left that reading, I genuinely started doing that. And it was almost immediate that I started to see more things to be grateful for, like the clients coming in all of a sudden, like the floodgates just opened. Where, the month prior, I was kind of in this place of like, okay, I'm trusting that being a projector is the right thing. And I'm not going to use my lead generation software anymore. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to just be in spaces and allow people to come up to me and witness my six line and, know that they need to work with me. And that's literally exactly what happened. It's wild how it was like as soon as I owned who I am, the what is it called? The sign? The true
Your
self
true
theme.
self theme. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And also like the left angle cross of like, this is
Yeah.
what I'm here to do. I'm here to help people see a better way. I'm here to serve that purpose.
Yeah.
It just
A left angle cross is having a direct impact on somebody. So right angle cross is a little bit of the exact opposite. Right angle crosses still impact other people, but it's through their own process, right? It's focusing on them. And that's not to say that you don't focus on your own growth journey. Obviously, you know the benefits of that. You've been able to experience it, which is what has brought us here today. But you have that direct impact. And when you start showing up the way that you are designed to interact with the world, which is what your projector strategy shows you, and those profile lines that show you how you are designed to lead, to show up, to be seen. And when we start honoring that, we do get to feel more of that true self theme of success. And I love how you were able to reframe what success meant to you through appreciation. So I'm curious, what was that definition of success for you before?
Well, I think I very much wanted to see my business be a real reflection of my true value. And with previous offers, with previous strategies, I felt like I was almost there, but like not quite. Right. So even though I technically had made good money and I had clients that were winning, and on paper, I looked successful, I didn't feel resonant with that success. There was like a very clear disconnect. And when we first sat down for coffee and you started talking to me about my photos, I was like, this is kind of exactly how I feel. I feel like they're beautiful. I absolutely like, I'm in love with them for so many reasons, but I don't feel like they are reflecting what I actually do and how I actually help people. And I feel like my offer is also not quite there. And there was even for me like a aha moment of the way in which I wanted to go about, because I was kind of in the middle of like almost I had a new offer. I had the VIP day, but it wasn't really like fully in the ethers. Like I was kind of sitting and holding it, like I was protecting it from something. And I think it was just me accepting the invitation to be in my energy. And that was the thing that opened the floodgates. It was like, as soon as I fully embraced, like, this is how I'm meant to show up, be visible, market my business. This is what my business is designed to do. And I can trust that it will do that because I am working with my design in my design. It just started happening. And so now I'm just so passionate about human design. And, obviously, we've shared some clients now, and we have helped so many people understand how this impacts their business. And it's just beautiful to witness the transformation that people have when they have this information.
Yeah, doing human design readings literally lights me up more than anything else. And just being able to see the validation that people experience, feel like, oh my gosh, you finally see me. I've even had clients that have said, I feel like you've been following me around my whole life and I literally just met you, right? So it's this finally being seen, and that alone is enough for people to be able to say, okay, now I can move forward with what I feel is right versus what I feel pressured into doing. So you talked a little bit about our coffee meeting, which is still one of my favorite things ever. And how we talked about your photos. So I really want to talk about your photo shoot now, because this is what followed the human design reading. And you obviously are experienced in doing brand photography sessions before. So I'm really curious to see what the difference was for you going through the process of the other photographers, who are amazing photographers, by the way. This is not a knock on anybody else out there that's doing brand photography, but their process in the planning versus the approach that we took through the lens of your human design. And how was that process different for you?
Yeah. Yeah. It was very different. And I agree. I loved the previous brand photos that I have, and I actually still use them in a lot of ways. But this particular photo shoot was just beyond anything that I could have ever imagined, in the best way. Like, when I say worth every single cent, I really mean that, because again, and I think this speaks to your design, Kim, like, you are very thorough, and there was no stone left unturned in this photo shoot from start to finish, with the human design, the information I got before our session, which was the reading, I mean, and then during the session, and then after. Like, I always knew what was coming next. And what I really appreciated about the photo shoot process was that before we even did the photos, based on my design, you created different avatars for
Mhm.
what my photos should reflect. So, I have this background in education, but I was like, how does this tie into my business and my profile? And you were able to create an avatar for that. And then, I have this two line, this hermit, this, person that needs rest, but like, what does that even look like? Because I don't think I'm really doing that right now. And you told me exactly how we were going to embody that. And I just really appreciated, in the planning session that we had, not only did you say, these are the types of photos that reflect this avatar, and you had actual clear examples, which I'm a visual person and I really appreciated that. Um, but you also had like outfit ideas and colors and tones that matched my skin. Like the level of detail was just so thorough in a way that I have not experienced before. And I really appreciated that because, it's not just about showing up to the photo shoot. And I think I've had the experience before where I am told how to sit, how to pose, and all of that is really helpful.
Mhm.
But everything else about what really needs to be seen wasn't always there. And that's kind of what I'm trying to explain here to the audience is like, you really helped make sure that I was seen for who I am. And the photos did their job of reflecting what I do in my business as a mentor. And so I think we had 4 different avatars. They were each very different,
Yeah.
and they show my true essence. They are probably my favorite photos of myself that I've ever had captured. And I'm also thankful I was able to have them taken before I got too pregnant and I still look like me. And they're just amazing. So, yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible to hear. And so, what I'm really gathering out of that is because of the level of depth that we went into during the planning process, you felt so much more prepared. You knew exactly what was coming come the day of the photo shoot, exactly what was going to transpire and how to step in that energy. And with the guidance that I was able to give you, it made flowing between these 4 different avatars, like you said, they were completely different avatars. These were 4 separate energies that we pulled out of your chart and said, this is what this looks like and this is what we want to omit in our marketing. I have this saying with photos that they have an energetic signature, and that signature is captured the moment that we photograph the actual image itself. And so it's really important to be intentional of how we are showing up to our photo shoot and what we are embodying when we execute the photo shoot, because we're capturing that signature that then at a later time, when you go to create your content and market yourself and post, that same energetic signature is what is coming through. And that's what your audience is going to pick up on. So tell me a little bit about the actual photo shoot experience itself and what that felt like inside of your body and kind of what was going on in your head as we were walking through all of those 4 different avatars.
Yeah. So the photo shoot really went by very quickly.
Mhm.
I kind of anticipated with 4 different avatars that there would be a little bit of a delay, like switching between each of them. And I just really didn't know what to expect, right? Like I knew we had 2 hours, but um, I didn't know. Like I think part of me was wondering if we were going to get to all of them. So I was really happy that we did. And
Mhm.
we honestly, it was like a quality over quantity type experience. We didn't really need to get into so many different types of poses. We just had to nail a few, which was also kind of a different experience for me that I'm used to. I think I'm used to getting into lots of different poses and then having a gallery of just different poses versus a gallery of different avatars, which was like a very different experience to feel when the photo shoot was over. And I loved that. And, I had for one of the avatars, I had a couple guests that came in to support and play the role of like my VIP day clients and guest expert. And that was really fun for me to just be in the embodied energy of that. I also think that was really important to be able to market that offer because, again, my previous photos, and I didn't have this offer at the time of my previous photos, so it's not a knock to that photographer or anything that we did, but it just, it makes sense to have pictures that reflect your offers, right? So like if you're leading, women's circles, you need photos that aren't just of you in the middle of the ocean looking like this goddess. You need to show people like what that actually looks like, right? And I think you did a fabulous job of being able to direct everybody and allow the session to flow. I also really appreciated that there was video included as part of the offer. That has been really useful for me. I've never had content to create in video form from a photo shoot. So it flowed. It was fun. And I was really honestly ecstatic with how everything turned out. And I still am.
I love seeing you post your images, and that's something that I just have to acknowledge with you. I mean, it's one thing to go out and do all this work, have the reading, get the understanding of how you are designed to lead, to show up, to be seen, and to go and do the photo shoot, to embody the different avatars. Because the avatars, it's really not about the posing, it's about the embodiment of the energy that is represented of you, your true authentic energy. And when this is reflected through your offers, I mean, that segment was definitely one of my favorite segments because I got to see you in your zone of genius. It was so hard at moments to interrupt you. You had a conversation, you could see you get into your flow. It was almost as if I wasn't even there and you were just directly working with a model. It wasn't even a real client, it was just a model placing for a client. And just to see you get into your own natural zone of genius was just such a fun thing for me, especially as a generator. You like gave me so much to respond to in those moments to capture with you. But you actually, once you got the photos, you went and implemented it all. Like you didn't just hang on to it and say, oh, okay, like I've got all this stuff now. Like I really don't know what to do. Or, even have like this lack of confidence that, okay, this really is okay and the right thing for me to do, even though it goes against everything that I've been doing before, or, the people on, social media are saying I should be showing up and how I should be creating content and what I should be talking about, the way that I should be talking about it. You like literally casted all of that aside and said, no, I found me and my own way, and I am so here for it. And you started implementing that. And literally, you told me within 1 month of starting to use your new images and promote your offers, you literally booked 4 high ticket clients. And that just, I couldn't ask for a better result for you than that. And to me, that is just a true testament of you actually implementing the work, which is where the magic really happens. And so I'd love to hear from you what that experience was like as these clients were calling you and saying yes to you, and it was just one after another. Like, what was really going on internally for you with that?
I love this question because this is going to, if you're not already convinced that human design has everything to do with business, this is going to show you how. So, out of the 4 new clients that I got, 3 of them all came from this one group that I am a part of. The day that I attended this group, which by the way, I have not been super active in, I had missed the last few meetings. They meet monthly. It's like a group for mothers and entrepreneurs in the St. Pete area. And it's like a healing circle. I had also received an invitation to go to a networking group in Tampa, very last minute, and was asked to go pitch my business. And old Caitlin, who did not use her projector energy to make decisions and view things through invitation and align them with my energy, I would have hands down abandoned that group that I really wanted to go to the group of really where I thought success, like you asked earlier, what did success look like to me? it would have looked like going to those groups and pitching my business and getting a new client out of it, right? But I just felt very called to be a bit more in my hermit energy that day. And I just trusted that. And I went. I ended up not even talking about any of my offers, but just listening to the moms there that were showing up and sharing about some of the challenges they were facing with their businesses. And over the next few weeks, the universe just had us bump into each other again, like each of them. Like I saw one out at the grocery store, I saw another one in a cafe, and that was the second time I bumped into them. And they were like, you know what, I've been meaning to text you. I think I really need to do your VIP day. And I was just like, okay. I was just, in that energy of appreciation, like, thank you, you know? And so that proof really started to become real for me, obviously. And I started to say, oh, this is how it's supposed to happen. This is how my business is supposed to run. Not using a lead generator, not showing up to networking spaces and expecting a result from pushing my business from the type of opportunity I had, which was not like not pushing, like they asked me to come speak about it, but still,
Mm-hmm.
it's different than just showing up and being who you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, how has this shift for you been showing up now in the way that you run Beacon, the way that you run your VIP days and your 8-week mastermind that you have coming up? I think this is the first time that you're going to be running this mastermind, right? Since having your human design reading done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
So,
was kind of in the middle of the reading process, the photo shoot process, the last time I started it.
gotcha. So, how are you showing up differently for your clients now, and what's the result of that?
Well, I think first and foremost, we talk openly about human design. It's now kind of front and center in the conversation. And whether or not, so with the 8-week mastermind, it's not technically included as part of the offer, but I have had clients who have wanted to explore it. And in addition to joining Sales Mastery, they have had a reading with you.
Mm-hmm.
Those clients, I will say, have already started seeing results, and we haven't even started Sales Mastery.
That's
I actually had a
amazing.
client text me today saying that 2 people raised their hand and said, hey, I need to work with you through 2 different ways. Somebody found her online, another one met her in person,
Oh my
just
gosh.
because she's showing up in her energy of how she's designed.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Oh my gosh, that's music to my ears.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's incredible. That's incredible. I can't wait for you to go through this next round of your sales mastery and just hear about the transition that happens, not only for your clients, your students that are coming into this space, for them to really learn how to embody their human design and the way that they are designed to show up through the lens of selling themselves, which can feel so icky for so many people. And so, because of that ick, they don't want to do it. But when we do it through that lens of how we're designed to show up, it no longer feels icky. It actually feels natural, and it feels good, and it's satisfying. And so, I can't wait to see it all unfold for you, as I know you have another round coming up, and then you're going to be opening up again next year. So if you feel called to Caitlin at all whatsoever, if you've been leaning into this conversation, I'm going to encourage you to follow her and just keep an eye out for when this offer comes up next. I know she has a little beautiful baby boy that is on its way, and he's going to be making an appearance here in the next few months. So there's only one more round this year, but then it's going to be coming back again next year. So Caitlin, where can people find you to follow you?
Yeah. So the next round, by the way, starts July 27th. So if this episode drops before then, please definitely reach out if you're interested, because selling is the most important skill that you can learn as a business owner. Because ultimately, even if you learn your design and how you're supposed to show up, as you've said already, Kim, implementing this is everything, executing this is everything. And our conditioned brain is going to pull us in every direction but the one that we're supposed to go. And so that's really what this space is for, is to show up weekly and embody a new seller identity so that you really start showing up as yourself in sales conversations. But you can follow me on Instagram at B period, the period beacon. And I have everything that you need to see on there about my offers and how to join and all the good stuff.
Excellent. I'm definitely going to drop that down in the show note for you guys so that it's easy for you to just click and log over onto Instagram and hit that follow button. And you know that if she reaches out to you through DM, that there's some magic there that is ready to unfold. And I encourage you to just be open to all the wisdom that this beautiful projector has to give you, because this is the thing about projectors, is that they can see the bigger picture. You know, Caitlin talked about this a little bit earlier. She dropped a little nugget of, I can see what is actually happening inside of their content and where their blocks are and what needs to shift in order to get them to a position where they are selling from a more natural place instead of such a forced place, which is where a lot of us are stuck are. Even I experience that from time to time, you know, and it took a long time for me to get out of that. And it's still a process that I'm even working on. And so the whole goal of all of this is to be able to position ourselves in a way where our most ideal clients can find us, to be that beacon that we came here to be. And I love your marketing. It is just spot on for you and what you do, especially as a projector and the way that your aura works. I mean, everything is just aligned so beautifully. So thank you so much, Caitlin, for coming on today. It's been such an honor to have you here as a guest. I've enjoyed this conversation and I can't wait to see what all comes for you.
Thanks, Kim.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Next season, we are going to be diving into a lot more conversations about human design. So you probably heard a lot of terms that were dropped today that you were like, I don't understand what any of this is. And I want to let you know that that is totally okay. You don't need that to get something really wonderful out of this episode. And next season, we are going to start to dive into what a lot of human design looks through the lens of visibility, so that you can start taking action in that implementation that Caitlin did to get those results that you heard about today. So thanks so much, guys, for tuning in, and I will see you next season on Visibility Unlocked. Most conversations about being seen stop at how you market yourself. Here at Visibility Unlocked, we crack open the 3 layers of visibility: market, client, and inner presence. Because without all 3, you're in the wrong visibility. And wrong visibility is just as bad as none. If you've been putting a lot of effort into showing up and still aren't seeing the results you desire, then you know it's time for a different approach. So hit subscribe, because that's exactly what the show is here to give you. And if you're finding value here, please leave a review so others can find their way to their right visibility too. Please note that the information shared in this podcast is not intended as legal, health, or financial advice and is for entertainment purposes only. If you are looking for professional advice in any of these areas, please seek out a local professional. Thank you for being here, and until next time, lead your visibility from the inside out.